As I've explained before, I'm Alexander Surya-Jan. I've said this out loud in my room to these telepathy people. Clearly, they don't report what I say honestly and don't. And then maybe they trick me that to be pretend to be people I know, and I being under the impression I'm talking to people I've encountered in life when they're not, because they do that hustle too, or they pretend they're good and report honestly somewhere. And I think people I've encountered, if there are people I encountered involved with this, hear the information I say, but maybe they don't. But the vibe, I think I've texted this to people too, though. But the system I'm gathering from this telepathy people is there's some computer realm, and people are covert, and there's a lot of people thinking they're talking to politicians and thinking they're talking to law enforcement and CIA guys, or they are, but maybe they're corrupt and they don't realize it. But or they're not at all. But part I think what I was trying to make to them is part of how their system works and they remain covert is they all communicate within their system, and they have a system set up designed to where they have a system set up and designed to where they remain under the government radar. And part of the way they do that is they may tell you only to communicate with certain people, or only communicate with certain law enforcement, or only report to law enforcement on this platform or this or that. And maybe you're not even reporting to law enforcement at all, or maybe you're reporting to corrupt law enforcement who don't send this information to the president or to Bureau of Counterterrorism or FBI or CIA. And maybe that's how they keep their system running, is tricking people they're reporting to real law enforcement when they're not, or tricking them that things are being handled when they aren't. And part of the way you stop these people is you put them on the government radar. Part of the way you stop these people is you quit operating within their system and the confines of their system and their rules and their laws. You go to real law enforcement and multiple law enforcement, not just one or two. You tell as many law enforcement as you can because you don't know how many have been corrupted by their system and how many haven't. So you try to find the guys who haven't been corrupted to break their system, because there's probably some corrupt, some not. So you go to as many law enforcement agents as possible, as many intelligence officers as possible, as many UN officials as possible, not just one or two, etc. You have to break their system and their system of confining information and controlling information. And part of the way you do that is by trying to incorporate as many people as possible to break their system of corruption and break their system of communication control and control of information to higher ups. So if you're people are telling you to operate within some system, and they're saying we'll hand it off to them or we'll report it for you, they're probably lying to you and probably controlling information to the people they give your information to. These guys are deceitful, deceptive, lying bastards and desperate. So I would, if you give information to someone, I would give it to various people as well, as many people as you can, and not anyone they tell you to report to. Key point: you have to break their system, because their system helps them control information, control you, control what's going on. And part of the way you beat these people is by trying to beat their system of information control. And that's a piece of this. And putting them on the government radar, as they probably control information to where they stay low key and off the government's radar. And part of the way they do that is by taking over phones, taking over emails, taking over accounts, lying, misrepresenting evidence as their own, this and that. So part of the way you beat their system is operating outside of the confines of their system. Key point. And I've said this before out loud in my room. So if they didn't translate it to whoever was supposed to hear this, if there's any decent people out there, I should tell you whoever these investigators are holding me hostage aren't investigators, and whoever these people are claiming they're on my team aren't on my team. They're just terrorists holding me hostage, like I've been saying for a while now, and terrorist gamblers too.